Yo, 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 YouTube. I hope everybody is well. Today was a good day. It was a cold one today in Milwaukee, but it was still a good day. My youngest daughter's birthday was today, so we was able to celebrate little Bubs' birthday. That's our nickname for her. Her name is Sienna, but we call her Bubs. So we was able to celebrate that, give her some gifts, get her a cake. We just did it small. Did it small here, and that was cool. It was cool to be around the wife, around, both kids, and it was a good time, man. So coming home to that was smooth. Uh, work went pretty smooth. You know, it was cold, definitely cold. Like this morning was kind of rough, but no real issues. So I was blessed to get done, finish the day. Last weekend, this last previous weekend was pretty good. I had a good podcast with Thomas Shumpert, who's a big trainer in the Milwaukee area. So I was able to get him down for a Cut Talk episode, and it was dope. Bro had a lot to say, so I just I did my best to accommodate him and give the platform to just talk his stuff. So that went pretty well. Was able to shoot a podcast with Greg Brown, the OG, and that went well too. So I can't complain, man. And the podcast is starting to get some traction, starting to get some motion in the city. So that's something I'm definitely proud of. And we're gonna just do what we got to do to keep things rolling forward. So I hope everybody else out there is doing well too. So in getting the pleasantries out the way, this weekend I was able to watch a movie on Netflix called The 6888, starring Kerry Washington and Ebony Obsidian. Oprah Winfrey was in there too, amongst the pretty star-studded cast. A movie on Netflix again. It was a period piece. Oh, it was about the first all-black women's battalion in the United States military during World War II. And I'm going to get this out the way now. So what I'm about to say isn't misconstrued or taken out of context. Good movie. And it was based on a true story. So salute to those women who sacrificed and did what they had to do to get that job done. It was it's admirable. I tip my hat to those ladies, and I give thanks and just give a shout out to those ladies and doing what they did, for the country, and just trying to open doors for others behind them. So the battalion mission was to sort and grow through mail that was not being shipped to soldiers who were fighting in the war. And because soldiers weren't able to hear from loved ones, the morale was starting to drop. And Kerry Washington's battalion, her character's name was Major Charity. What was it? Yeah, Major. Can't even get to pull up the name. Major Charity Adams. Excuse me for that. But yeah, she was the leader of the battalion, and she was able to lead those ladies and devise strategies and plans to get that done. I think they were given 90 days to get the job done, and they actually, I think, got it done in half the time. And again, like, a good movie. I thought Kerry Washington did a really good job in her role. I thought Ebony Obsidian, who played Lena, who was basically kind of the main character per se, I thought she did a really good job. Oprah Winfrey played Mary McLeod Bethune. She did a good job. I thought the lady who played Eleanor Roosevelt, Susan Sarandon, she did a good job. Her makeup was A1. that didn't look anything like her, but they was able to get her, get her right, and I thought she did a good job. But I'm gonna just get to it. Overall, after seeing the movie, again, shout out to those ladies and what they did. I never want to, disregard, an act of valor. But at the same time, the climate in America in the 40s, so this movie took place in 1945. Eleanor Roosevelt was the president, or no fault. Franklin Roosevelt was the president, and Eleanor Roosevelt was the first lady. And I don't know, during that time for blacks in America, Jim Crow, and I got some notes. Jim Crow was taking place, segregation was taking place, lynchings in the South was taking place, employment discrimination was taking place. Like, all these crazy things were taking place in America at this time. And my, I don't know, just issue with those ladies being an all-black troop, I just could not understand the reasoning for wanting to join the military at that time, especially with the climate of the country. Like, Jim Crow was law. Legislation, there was legislation put into place in America that made it hard for black people. It's one thing if you just got groups of people who don't like you. It's a whole nother thing for there to be laws put in place that systematically hold people down. And when I say people, I mean blacks in America at the time. Now, I will give Franklin Roosevelt credit, and I will give his wife credit, because Eleanor Roosevelt was an activist, and she believed in, equal rights for all people. I'm gonna say that. And what I got notes written on Franklin D. Roosevelt. So in June of 1941, Franklin D. Roosevelt issued Executive Order 8802, which created Fair Employment Practices Committee. That's what that was. It was the most important federal move in support of the rights of African Americans between Reconstruction and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The president's order stated that the federal government would not hire any person based on their race, color, creed, or national origin. Millions of African Americans and women achieved better jobs and better pay as a result. I have to say that. I have to give him his flowers and say what he did in terms of trying to make stuff better for black people. But at the same time, there were things that were taking place in this country that as a president you would think he would see and say, man, that's wrong. That's out of order. What's going on in this country does not display the values in which this country was founded on. Liberty and justice for all, the pursuit of happiness for all, equal rights for all. That's what this country was founded on. These are the principles of the founding fathers. And to be a sitting president and to know in certain parts of this country, people are getting lynched, there's segregation, people are getting denied loans, people are getting denied certain jobs just because of the color of their skin. So I, for the life of me, could not understand at that time why anybody black would want to take part in a military. First of all, a military who didn't want black people there to begin with. I get you can have a love for your country, but a country has to have some type of love for you back. In that time, black people were not considered, basically, we weren't considered the same as white people in the country at the time. And some people in the country didn't even view us as people. That, let me just be plain. So the fact that people still, despite all that, felt the desire and the urge to go to the military, I couldn't understand it. Like, the one thing I thought when I was watching that movie, I'm like, what's the standard? The one thing, another thing that I couldn't see for black people at that time was just unity in having a standard of what's okay and what's not okay. I totally get that what those women did was empowering and it was something to be proud of, but at the same time, those women went in there being viewed as inferior and just not worthy. And when they got out the military and went back to their homes, it was the same thing. Nothing changed for them on the outside world. So it's cool you went in and did an excellent job and was able to do work for the military and do a successful job. But the fact that nothing changed for those same women when they got out, those women of color when they got out, is a problem. And it makes me think, why was there no negotiations? Why was there no like, hey, we'll do this, but we have to have some type of legislation change for our people when we get out? Or before we even go to enter the military, something has to change for us. Because I don't think it's fair, even on the guy's side, that we go, we give our lives up, we get time away from our family, and we even risk death to protect this country. And this country can't even give us basic civil rights. Like, I don't think that's right at all. Like, at all. And another thing I was thinking is, like, as a woman, I'm not a woman, so let me just say that. But as a woman during that time, I'm trying to put myself in the mind thought process. It's cool to do stuff that's empowering, but I'm not gonna do just anything just so I can feel empowered. Like, I'm not gonna just join any cause to feel empowered. I'm not gonna just jump into anything to feel as though I matter and I can do the same as others. Like, no. Like, if you don't respect me, you don't treat me fair, you don't give me certain opportunities that I should deserve the right to have, I don't want anything to do with that. And I feel like blacks during that time did not have a united standard from the north to the south. In terms of the south and the north, certain stuff was better in the north opposed to the south. But I feel like across the country, if black people had a united front and said, I'm not serving in your military, I'm not working certain jobs, I'm not doing certain things until certain legislation is changed for all our people, because that is not right. It's hypocritical, in my opinion. And like, those were my thoughts. And like, I had a lot of back and forth with other people, like saying like, oh, what those women did they were, it was brave. Women showed they were empowered. They did this, they did that. But I'm like, what changed? Like, don't get me wrong, salute to them on what they did, but what changed for people as a whole? Are you just thinking about the accolades you receive? Are you thinking for the community as a whole? And I feel like black people at that time needed a sense of urgency to make change for the group as a whole and not just thinking about individuals. And that was my mindset when people were hitting me with certain things. Like, y'all just thinking about individuals. Y'all not thinking about the group. When other groups come to this country, they have a group mentality. I can speak on that firsthand because of the job I do. A lot of the accounts I have, Middle Eastern's own restaurants, and they have their families in there working the restaurants and building each other up so they can, have one restaurant, save up, buy another restaurant, save up, buy another restaurant, keep that community close. The Asians are like that. Like, Hispanics are like that. It's all these groups come to this country with a sense of unity, and it just seemed like black people during that time I don't know, just felt as though it just no unity for just improvement. And that was why I was just against that move. Like, I know if my wife told me in those times, and my wife is white, but let's say I had a black wife back in the 40s who wanted to join the military, I would have said, I don't agree with that. At the end of the day, she gonna do what she want to do. But if my wife went to that military, we would have had an issue, and that would have been a strain on our relationship, because I don't think it is right for a woman of color to join the military, but yet that military has no respect for her, and the government in which the military is part of has law put in place to keep certain people down. And that's just something I can't get with. I would have wanted, at that time, I would have wanted nothing to do with the military. And somebody could easily say, well, oh, you're not being patriotic. You don't love your country. You should leave the country. I can't leave the country. I wasn't voluntarily brought here. I was forcibly brought here, and I don't know where I come from. I don't know my native language. I don't even know what my name is. So it's easy to say you should leave, but like, where I'm gonna go? But that would have been my mindset. And like, there was other examples at that time or later in the 50s with the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. That was the perfect example. Black people were tired of being told that they had to sit at the back of the bus. We paying the same money as everybody on this bus, but yet we only could sit in the back of the bus. And if the bus was full and a white person wanted that seat, we had to get up. And we had enough. We said no. We organized a boycott and refused to ride the buses. We came together as a community and set a standard. No more of this. If y'all gonna treat us like this, we not getting on your buses. Period. And no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If y'all can't respect us, we are not gonna ride your buses. And what they did at that time is they organized like carpools. They walked together, and they did this for, I want to say, a year plus. It took place in 1955, I want to say. Don't quote me though. But that hurt the pockets of the city. They lost money. They lost thousands of dollars every week because black people refused to ride the bus because of the rules that were in place at the time. We came together. We said we're not going to accept this. And we came together and figured out situations to cope and to maintain until things were changed. And luckily, the city was able to bend and change legislation to where we could sit anywhere on the bus. And I think that example should be just a blueprint, should have been a blueprint for us, period, during that time. Like, no, we are part of this country too, and we want to be treated fairly. We don't need to be treated any better, any less than any other group in this country. But I don't think it's right that you want us to be a part of a military and sacrifice our time, tears, all that, and even lives to a country that doesn't even give us basic rights. That was my thought process. Yeah, it's beautiful that women felt empowered, but I'm looking deeper than that. Why couldn't those same women organize in their own communities and get militant in their own communities? Start programs to teach other young women. Organize and start programs to learn skills. Organize programs to clean up the neighborhood. Organize programs to just bring change and uplift the community without the help of the government. And that was my mindset. And it was just like, I just felt, I ain't gonna say hurt because it wasn't that deep, but it just blew me that people could not understand where I was coming from. Another example I was thinking of is like, say for example, it's a man and a woman, and the lady, her whole life has wanted to be married. This guy over here, he ain't a good guy. He treats her bad. He cheats on her. He beats her up. But because she want to be married so bad, she gets with this guy. and they get married. And even through marriage, he beat her up. He cheat on her. He don't take care of her. He don't provide. But she cooks his meals every day, cleans the house, is faithful, is loving to him, is caring for him, looks out for him. And she's done this for 10 years. And at the end of the day, she's proud because she said, I was a good wife and I did right by my husband. And at the same time, well, this guy thinks nothing of the marriage, doesn't care about her, takes her for granted. Do you think going through 10 years of hell is worth saying I was a good wife? No. I would tell her you had no standard. You could have took that 10 years to work on yourself, or you could have took that 10 years to wait and find a man who's going to treat you right and hold up to a standard that you deserve. And now with that same example, I'll look at the women of the the 688, the 6888. There was no standard. No standard. I am not entering this military if we're going to be treated like this. We didn't cause this problem. We didn't make the male disappear. That had nothing to do with us. And there was no punishment for the troops and the white soldiers who did that. None at all. And another thing that had me mad about that movie is there was a scene in the movie where Mary McLeod Bethune was sitting with Eleanor Roosevelt and Franklin Roosevelt I'm assuming in the White House, and they were talking, and it was being pushed that black women should be able to serve. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but Miss Bethune, how about you bring up some of the issues that are going on in this country? Jim Crow, segregation, redlining, the lynchings, just the inferiority in which black people are viewed as. And the fact that she started at HBCU, Bethune-Cookman University. The fact that she even had to start up a historical black college, that alone is a problem. Those institutions were started up because blacks were not being given the opportunity to go to other colleges, so we had to start our own. That in itself is a problem. Like, if they could have showed a conversation when Miss Bethune was talking to the president and the first lady about ways to change legislation to make things better for black people, I think it would have sat well with me better. But the fact that the only conversations they showed is pushing that black women should be able to serve in the military, come on now, man. It's more important things than that. And it just, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And end of the day, my thoughts is like, we as black people got to have a standard. I think people in general should have a standard. Yeah, it's cool to have accolades and to get recognition and to feel empowered, but at what cost? At what cost? I know the job I'm at now, it's just the nature of my job is tough. Like, it's physical, it's demanding, but I'm treated the same as anybody else there, regardless of race, religion, anything. I'm treated fairly. So that's what I signed up for. I can put up with all of that stuff because that's the nature of the job, but I also know I'm treated the same as everybody else there. It's a totally different story if at my job I was called names and there were like certain rules set up that made it harder for black drivers and just we were viewed as inferior. I wouldn't work there. I don't even care if the job paid $300,000 or whatever. I wouldn't work there because I don't deserve to be treated as such. I have a standard for what I'm willing to accept, and some things I'm just not willing to accept. I don't care what can possibly come from it. I'm not willing to accept that. My wife had a standard with me. If I didn't treat her a certain way, act a certain way, and have certain ambitions for myself, my wife wouldn't have dealt with me, and vice versa. So that was the takeaway from the movie. Don't get me wrong, good movie, beautiful story, but I was just a little disappointed that those black ladies had no standard in which they were requiring people to treat them, especially getting out of the military and nothing changed in terms of legislation for black people in this country. That's what I would have liked to see. And like just thinking like the bus boycotts, other groups like the Nation of Islam. I'm not a Muslim. I don't agree with the theology and just certain things that took place in that movement. But I do salute the sense of community and sticking together and demanding change. I agree with that. Same with the Black Panther Party for self-defense. I don't agree with everything that took place within the party and some of the tactics they used, but I do agree with coming together to make change amongst each other and not feeling like I have to go to certain groups who don't respect me to get respect or to be validated or to be empowered. Like, no, I'm going to keep this in-house and we're going to come together and try to figure out how to grow us as a whole. And I think that's what this nation has to get back to. Everybody is for themselves and nobody is thinking about the group. But when we all set a standard and think about one another and hold government to that standard, I think this country will be better, man. But that's all I got. That's my rant for tonight. I had to get it off my chest. Go watch the movie, The 688. It's on Netflix. I thought Kerry Washington did a dope job. All the actresses and actors in there did a dope job. It's a good movie, but I'm just curious to hear y'all opinions. I gave y'all mine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. But that's it, man. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. I got to get up early in the morning. So y'all take it easy, man. We out.